one shouldn't really just choose either MBA or a B school or a specialization because everybody they've known is doing that.
Alright, so we are here sitting right at the middle of this beautiful looking room where I can see a lot of these frames hanging, which tells me about the rich legacy of IMT. I can see a lot of these people, their faces, their happy faces, joyous faces out of the campus, all the alumni members. And from all of these alumni members, I have one alumni member sitting with me right now, Laksh Sharma. Right, Laksh, just let's go back, in your time when you were actually part of IMT Ghaziabad. Right now, we are not sitting on the campus, but I'm sure you're reminded of the campus. What were those days like? How did you, decide that, this is the place that you want to start your journey with?
All through the various, the years that IMT has been around, you've seen alumni sort of contribute to various different fields, right? From say media to business to politics. You've had, star alumni grace, all of those things. So that was one instant connect of sorts. Second thing, I had a couple of senior folks that I knew through acquaintances, friends, etc., who'd spoken in ways that were that was very glorious, to be honest. But I think what put the entire process the first time I was in the campus was that it was very it wasn't generic. It wasn't all about state ka capital batao, and it wasn't about so this is your field of interest and let's talk about engineering. They wanted to know essentially why I wanted to join MBA and why IMT Ghaziabad and where did my actual interests lie, not the typical MBA questions. So that was another check mark for me. So all of those things just worked really well. That's how I knew that that's where I wanted to be.
Right, and when did you realize that you are a sales and marketing guy and you definitely need to be in this space to grow and prosper?
When did I actually firm up my belief that I wanted to pursue sales and marketing was when I joined IMT. I think during the formative months when you sort of undergo that entire rigor, you study subjects across the spectrum, right? Your first couple of semesters aren't exactly when you are specializing per se. So you're going through the entire gamut of subjects. That's when I actually felt that I related to the subjects which were a part of the sales and marketing curriculum far more than I sort of related to otherwise. So yeah, that's how I became a sales and marketing guy.
Did that ever happen to you when you were bogged down with so much pressure, work, that you thought that, oh my God, what have I done to myself and where have I landed myself in?
Honestly speaking, I think I speak on behalf of myself and a vast majority of students who were with me. We felt weighed down every single day, every single week. But truth be told, it was just the kind of support system that you build for yourself in terms of people, in terms of things, in terms of surroundings that helps you sort of come out of it. I don't think, honestly speaking, that pressure or the fact that sometimes some periods are tougher than others is something that will not happen to one. I think it's inevitable that it will happen. But truth be told, it's about finding those little wins. It's about finding your niche. It's about trying to figure out what you enjoy about what you're doing. If you're doing that, I think you tend to sort of manage that bit rather easily. So I think that's what kept me going. I figured out industries, people, kind of work that kept me interested, kept me fresh, kept never let it get boring, to be honest.
And what was that first step towards understanding real life, understanding real problems, understanding the corporate side of the sales and marketing that you were getting into?
For me personally, if you're asking about that light bulb moment where I realized, this is what it entails post my MBA, I'd go back to my internship. I think it's a period that honestly set me straight, set me right. I was working with this organization called Tetra Pak during my MBA internship, couple of months, and I was supposed to launch milk, packaged milk in Tetra Pak in the very challenging territory of Jammu and Kashmir in the middle of 2014 elections. That's when I sort of realized working with the very people who are in charge of distribution, who are in charge of getting milk supplies to anyone and everyone, from people like from women who are essentially decision makers in the house when it comes to that purchase behavior in that part of the country, to guys who are making tea and tea vendors and all of those folks, and what are the drivers, what drives their purchase behavior, and why would they choose one format over another format, so across product lines. That's probably one of the earliest things that I hold very, very dear to myself.
Absolutely, and with this kind of knowledge, experience, you come to the final moment of your college where final placements take place, and you decide to be part with a company called Snapdeal, right? How did you choose Snapdeal? What were the kind of things that you were thinking in terms of careers, in terms of growth, and in terms of trajectory that you wanted to take from there?
Snapdeal was a very, very intrinsic part of it. It has since pivoted to doing to catering to an entirely new consumer base, which I think they're doing very well in now. But back then it was as mainstream as probably Amazon and Flipkart are today, right? Everybody used to shop from them. And when they came on with the kind of profile that they did, which was largely account management, category related, had a lot to do with people, had a lot to do with understanding different categories, had a lot to do with learning how consumer behavior works, what drives purchase decisions, etc., etc. I really found that very interesting. So I think that sort of really helped make that seem very lucrative to me back then. Right. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Absolutely. And from that journey of people ordering stuff online from their phone to people actually ordering food from their phone, you joined Swiggy in your journey later on, and that also is an app or a service or a business that was in the developing stage, and it is a mammoth now. And you became somebody who is responsible for growing the business there also eventually in your journey. So tell us a little bit about your thought process of why you wanted to join Swiggy, and how did that journey played a role in your life?
So Swiggy, when the opportunity came to sort of join Swiggy, it was the perfect mix of things that I love to talk about. Honestly, if you just step back and think, Swiggy essentially stands for delivering convenience, right? Be it food, be it in the form of peer-to-peer commerce, or just helping you deliver something that you probably forgot, get that delivered from your home to the place that you're at right now, to ordering groceries and it coming to you instantly. It just sort of is in the business of delivering convenience eventually. How can I make a delivery executive that is probably the silent hero behind everything that we do? How can we make life easier for them? How can we look at making sure that everybody on the supply side, be it partners that we have, be it brands that we work with, who prepare that food that we deliver, how can we make life easier for them? So those are very interesting problems to solve. Right. And that just keeps me going.
Okay, so you were talking about looking at the journey of your company for the last couple of years, and in the last couple of years something major happened in the business world that rattled the business world. For some companies it was devastating. For some, they actually found new ways to come out of those challenges, right? With respect to Swiggy also, there are new deliveries that you guys started. There are doorstep deliveries, faster deliveries that were started. While you make these radical shifts in the kind of businesses that you're operating in, what sort of acumen do you need? What sort of planning do you need? What sort of ideation do you need to handle these?
Back then, we figured essentially that the biggest problem that people are facing now is they need to step out of their house for things which are essential. How do we make sure that they don't have to do that? We've got a large delivery fleet. We've got access to our consumers through the means of their smartphone. So while they're very skeptical of ordering in food food cooked outside back then. Something that they really need is our help from being able to get their essentials to them. That's essentially where we sort of brought on groceries and vegetables for the first time on the platform. Acumen, when you ask me about acumen, I think the ability to think as big as possible but execute the absolute the minutest of details. I think that's probably the single biggest acumen that I'd bring. I think that ability to sort of listen to your consumer, then very quickly having a very strong bias for action, ability to convert that thought into an action, into a form of some kind, without sort of worrying too much about achieving perfection on the first go. I think a lot of times, we just continue to chase perfection, and we sort of delay and not get something out there when the consumer really needs it. So that's something we absolutely are always wary of, and we don't do.
Right, absolutely. When you were in your campus, when you were getting placed, startups were looked down upon. People used to say, "Oh, acha, startup join karega." From that time to now, where I don't know, 3, 4, 5 startups have gotten their IPOs listed this year.
Oh yeah.
How much of a radical shift do you see in the startup ecosystem, and do you think that B-School students actually now want to be part of the startups?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the short answer to that is a big fat yes. The decision of whether to join an early stage company, a company that's building for tomorrow, comes with a lot more comfort at the back of your mind. You aren't really worried about making that choice as much as I think the decision today has pivoted to what I want to do when I join an organization, or what is the kind of career trajectory that I would want to have when I sort of start my professional journey. And similarly, a lot of talent is looking to do fantastic things in new age organizations and what we call startups, or essentially startups who are now entering into or building things at scale. So managing things at scale is something that legacy organizations teach you to do really well, but that 0 to 1 and then building things at scale, I think, is something that an early stage company teaches you to do like no other.
Absolutely. Laksh, I would like to know here, the kind of Laksh that you were when you actually joined and you sat through that open amphitheater in your B school, to the Laksh who is sitting right next to me right now, talking about the kind of companies that he has worked on, the kind of experience that he has gathered. What has changed, and how do you think your B school journey has made this possible?
Changes that have happened have actually happened from a functional standpoint. I think acquiring the kind of knowledge that I've sort of acquired through the various organizations that I worked with has sort of helped me build some sort of subject matter expertise or some sort of confidence in holding these discussions. The role that I think IMT, my alma mater, had to sort of play in that journey, in sort of building me into the individual that I am today, the version of myself that I am today, is immense. I'll start from the brass tacks, right? I'll start from the role that faculty has to play. I think you have one of the finest faculty you have across the B School fraternity at IMT Ghaziabad. Little did we know that the kind of discussion, the kind of peer-to-peer learning that our faculty was enabling, and studying with a bunch of fantastic individuals who have a mind of their own, who bring so many different perspectives to the table. All of those things is what IMT Ghaziabad taught me. It made me, or it sort of helped me develop as an individual who values feedback immensely and sort of value all of them.
Right. Laksh, quickly, one piece of advice that you want our audience to leave with.
You need to identify your niche. You need to know what you want to sort of do going ahead. One shouldn't really just choose either MBA or a B school or a specialization because everybody they've known is doing that. One should do it because they really believe it's the right thing for them. So it's important for FOMO to not drive that decision for you, but to actually be very sure of what you want to do and take that decision with that in mind. That's probably the one advice that I would tell an aspirant of today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Laksh, for reflecting on your journey, for going back in time and telling us about the things that mattered to you and still matter to you, because you carry on with the IMT legacy that you have left. On this note, Laksh, I would like to end this particular session that we have with you. We are going to meet another alum from your particular institute soon. We'll get to hear more from the IMT days, and I hope that you prosper in your career more and reach to the levels that you have dreamt when you actually walked into IMT. Thank you very much.
It's been a fantastic conversation.
Same.